A man by the name of Shabbatai Tzvi, who was born in 1626 and died in 1676, came along and said, I am the Messiah. And he had a tremendous following. When it was realized that his following was so great and there would be problems, the Sultan, because Shabbatai Tzvi was from Izmir, came along and gave Shabbatai a choice. Either you die or convert to Islam. So he converted. Now, there were about 1 million followers prior to the conversion. When the conversion happened, then there was disillusionment among the Jews. But there were some diehard people who set up different cults of Shabbatai Tzvi. And the worst one of them was called the Domeh, which was a secret organization. And the Domeh was based in Turkey and in Salonika. And the Domeh gave rise to these terrible orgies that went on, which became part of the immorality theology of Shabbatai Tzvi, corrupted later on. He apostatized himself 10 years before his death. So when he died in 1676, he had these cults doing all kinds of evil.
And the reason that these followers of Shabbatai Tzvi were doing evil was because what?
Here's the thing. The Talmud says that the Messiah would come when everybody's good or everybody's bad. There is such a saying in the Talmud. So the Sabbateans said like this: it's impossible for everybody to be good, it's easy to be bad. So they turned around the Torah and they said, if you do an evil deed, then you will use up the energy of the universe, and it'll collapse, and you'll force the Messiah to come because you will have used up all the evil in the world. So whenever they engage in an orgy, they would make a bracha, and every day they would figure out a way to do as many sins as possible. Like if you eat chaylev, you're chayav karet. In other words, if you eat fat, according to the Torah, you're to be excommunicated from your people. So they would eat fat that was prohibited, non-kosher fat, from a kosher animal, which is chaylev, which is in that category, like eating blood from a kosher animal.
So they would dafka do the opposite.
They do the opposite
in order to hasten the
coming of the Messiah. After Shabbatai Tzvi died, one of the most powerful Sabbatean cults, as they were called, was a transformation of the Domeh, the most extreme cult, to Europe through an insidious person by the name of Jacob Frank. He died in 1791. Now, the Frankists started to spread and take over entire communities and make them satanic. Matter of fact, no less a personality than the Nobel Prize winner Isaac Bashevis Singer describes how a community was corrupted in his Satan in Garay, which is based on very well documented history. So, one of the sources that I use is the late Professor Gershom Shalom, who wrote a lot about Shabbatai Tzvi. Shabbatai Tzvi, the Mystical Messiah, is a very, very thick book in Hebrew and in English. It goes through a lot of things. So to say that he was involved in conspiracy theories is ludicrous, because he has documented studies. There are other professors also, through Gershom Shalom, that were involved with their students at the Hebrew University and still continuing the Sabbatean studies, as they're called, because of the influence of this insidious group. And you can actually trace a line historically, which I do in my book, to the CFR from Shabbatai Tzvi, and another organization called the Illuminati, which was founded in 1776 by Adam Weishaupt. Studying the Frankist family trees, there was a family called the Brushka, which is like first cousin of Jacob Frank. Gershom Shalom spent 6 months in Paris at the National Library to ferret out things about the French Revolution in connection with the Sabbateans. So you can't dispute this material. There's a direct line with the Jacobin Society and with the Illuminati. And Gershom Shalom writes concerning the Brushka, he may have been, he said he was a member of the Illuminati, but he was devoted to Sabbateanism. After the French Revolution, there was the descendancy of the reform and conservative movements. Interestingly enough, if you start studying who the leaders were of the conservative reform, you'll find a direct line to the Sabbatean families in Europe of the Frankists.
So they infiltrated back into Judaism and made these cut-off religions. They formed conservative and reformed Jewry.
Right.
Okay, because before that there was only Torah-observant Jews. You were a Jew, period.
Right. And there was solidarity among all the Jews. After Shabtai Tzvi, you couldn't trust anybody anymore.
Mm-hmm. Where is Shabtai Tzvi buried, by the way?
He's buried in Albania.
Do people go and visit his grave? And
I understand they do. It's a Sufi shrine.
It's a Sufi shrine, which is Islam.
Sufi is a gnostic movement in Islam, which seemed to have been a tremendous influence on the Sabbatean movement. And the Sufi go all the way back in history, prior to even Islam. And this business about virgins being a gift if you kill for Allah came from a particular Sufi cult, which were also Illuminati. In my 2 volumes, I start showing straight lines from the Illuminati and the Frankists, the Haskalah movement, the Jacobin Society, the Reform movement, and different years that initiatives had. The Illuminati were involved to destroy the Bible and biblical authority and to help promote biblical criticism in the university level. Some scholars say the Sabbateans of Istanbul continued to practice many other of their own peculiar rituals. Sabbatean married couples gathered to eat spring's duly born lamb for the first time. After the meal, the lights go out and couples have sex without distinguishing between their partners.
His tenets call for the opposite of the Torah being true. That is, do not kill became kill, if you can believe this. And the early Zionists, the labor Zionists, the Bolshevik Zionists to Israel had just a ball with wife swapping and all kinds of Sabbatean tenets. That's what these German Jews were turned into. The Illuminati had one purpose, that was to destroy the Protestant Reformation. The Pope was going crazy. It was spreading everywhere. That was what the Illuminati was going to do, go into the Protestant nations and absolutely destroy their structures, family, patriotism, nationalism, religion, everything that kept these countries together were going to be under attack. That is the Illuminati. Now, there was a meeting between Jacob Frank, who is the new Messiah of the Jews, the European Shabtai Tzvi. He believes that the real Messiah is Shabtai Tzvi. Now, somehow or another, Adam Weishaupt got along with this guy enough. They both turned to Mayor Amschel Rothschild and offered themselves as spies. Now, Rothschild did not want anything more than control of the world's money. He was a visionary. He saw a way with enough spies entering the courts of Europe that he could get advance information and get money. That's what he was interested in. To get his way, Rothschild accepted the Sabbateanism business, and he also accepted the Illuminati business. This is the conspiracy that literally controls the world and has been for almost 250 years. Now, we're talking about a Catholic Jewish conspiracy, if you want to look at it that way.